Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm in the middle of my rest right now. I'm going crazy on my chest today, and so I figured I would come to you guys right now to try to save a little time later. So what's going on is I have people asking me whether they think they should be using Eccentric, whether they should be using chains, and I wanted to kind of just talk about the differences real quick. I've discussed it in the past, but those were kind of jumbled into a couple of videos. And I figured I'd just make a video that would explain everything that I think that you guys would need to know when it comes to these particular modes, chains, eccentric, and then you got spotter mode, and then you have Smartflex mode. So you have all these different modes. Looks like there's so many different options. How do you choose what to do? Take a look at Tonal. You're going to be seeing a couple of options. You have Smartflex mode. Okay, you have Smartflex mode. Then you have eccentric mode, and then you have chains mode. Guys, depending on your training, you're going to want to choose one of these. You can certainly mix it up and change things up. Now, this is focusing on the free lift mode, okay? I'm focusing on free lift mode. We'll get to the programs next, okay? Smartflex mode, eccentric, and chains. And then in the next section, you have the spotter kind of modes. You have the actual spotter mode, and then you have burnout mode. So the first thing we're going to touch on is Smartflex, okay? Smartflex allows you to be able to optimize your rep. It's going to give you a perfect rep, the most perfect rep you can ever possibly get. And the way it's going to do that is it's going to be changing the weight depending on whether your muscles are getting weaker or stronger. So if the machine reads your muscles and it notices, okay, Joe's getting weak at this point, it's going to lower the weight a little bit. As soon as my muscles get more powerful again, it's going to raise it. So it's constantly fluctuating throughout your reps. It's incredible. It's incredible. The feature is absolutely amazing, guys. This would be best used, in my opinion, if you wanted to get the closest thing to a regular rep in any exercise you want. A regular rep, meaning you're getting a very good amount of concentric and a very good amount of eccentric. This would be the optimal mode to use, okay? Smartflex. It's going to make your rep perfect, as perfected as it possibly can be. Okay, now let's look at eccentric. Eccentric mode is a completely different animal, and it is my favorite animal in the whole zoo, okay? So what eccentric does is it's going to give you the option to make your weight very light on the concentric portion of the movement. So when you're coming, for example, on a bench press, concentric is when you come up, and eccentric is when you come down. What eccentric is going to do is it's going to allow you to change the weight on the downward portion of that movement, okay? So the eccentric portion of the movement, it's going to allow you to make it heavier. Now, why would someone want to do that? There's a few reasons. If you want to grow your muscles size, you want to get your muscles bigger, faster than normal, faster than with Smartflex, faster than with chains, you're going to want eccentric mode. Because what it allows you to do is overload your muscles. Okay? When you push up on a rep, on the concentric, it could be very, very difficult to push up. But when you come down on the eccentric, your body can naturally take a lot more abuse. So it allows you to make the first part of the lift on the concentric very light and very heavy coming down, super, super heavy, so that you are basically lifting a ton of weight, but you're skipping the hard part, okay? So it allows you to use your muscles without getting tired on the first part. It allows you to kind of like double up on the weight, or however much weight you put. It allows you to double up on that weight on the other end where your body can take it, and it's going to tear your muscles down more than you've ever seen in your life. It's going to tear them down, rip them up. You are going to get burned out on this movement so fast, and your muscles are going to grow much, much more rapid, okay? That's my favorite movement on this whole entire machine. It's the best thing about it. It's what keeps me paying, and it's what will keep me paying the monthly membership fee. Because if you stop paying the monthly membership fee, you lose all these features. I don't really care too much for Smartflex about losing it. I love using it, but I wouldn't really be sad if I lose it. If I lost eccentric mode, I might shed a tear. Okay, now let's get on to chains mode, all right? Chains mode is going to cause you to be able to gain explosive force, okay? So what chains mode is basically the opposite of eccentric mode. It's going to give you heavy weight on the concentric portion, and on the eccentric portion, it's going to give you lighter weight, all right? So on a bench press, when you're coming up, it's going to be very heavy weight, and it's going to get easy on the way down. It's simulating putting chains on a bar. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. It's a strange concept, but people do it. They'll attach chains to a bar in the gym or something, and when you lift the bar, your bar, the chains go up, and as they go up, it's heavy, and then as you bring it down, the chains are hitting the ground, so it gets lighter, okay? So that's what it's replicating. The long of the short of it is, chains mode is it's gonna condition your muscles. It's gonna force your muscles to learn how to get explosive power, because when you guys turn chains mode on, guys, this chains is nothing to play around with. It's not. It is like, it's serious. Like, I'm talking about, you're gonna get burned out so fast. This would be good for 1 rep maxes, okay? If you want to show off, right? And you want to practice your 1 rep max, and you want your 1 rep max to be insanely easy, you want chains mode. Because you're going to put chains mode on, and from the get-go, you have to push. You have to explode all your power on that rep. And then you're going to come down, it's going to be easy. Then you got to explode all that power again. Guys, you're going to be burning out so fast. And you're going to be conditioning your body so quickly to the point where, honestly, I don't even think you're going to grow muscle. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to grow your muscle. Let me explain. Chains mode is going to force your body into your body is very smart, okay? Your body, if you threw 500 pounds on a bench press and you're not ready to do 500 pounds, and somehow you were able to force yourself through those 500 pounds, within a couple of weeks, you're going to be benching 500 pounds. Okay, so that's the way your body works. It's going to overcome obstacles. It's going to adapt. Now, just because you are using an extremely heavy weight does not mean that your muscles are going to physically get bigger that much faster. No, you can push a ton of heavy weight. So, for example, chains mode. Let's say I'm pushing on chains mode, and I condition my muscles to have to force out all this weight, all this heavy weight quickly. I'm conditioning my body to do that. That does not mean that I'm going to be getting the optimal amount of growth in my muscles depending on the amount of chains mode I use. Because, honestly, if I throw chains mode on, I'm not going to be able to get that many reps. Because depending on the amount of chains mode, I'm going to be burning out too quickly. So, chains mode is good for someone, an athlete, who doesn't really care too much about size. I mean, don't get me wrong, you'll gain size. Any kind of exercise is going to make you gain some form of size. Any kind of weight training will do that. But it's not going to concentrate on you really ripping down your fibers and then having them grow again to a point like eccentric mode would. This is more of a conditioning movement, in my opinion. In my opinion, remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a coach. This is just what I've noticed with me, okay? It's not going to give me the same amount of growth as chains mode. Chains mode is going to grow, as eccentric mode. Eccentric mode will grow your muscles. It will make you super strong, and it will grow your muscles to a point where you're like, I don't even know what happened. It's going to be so much faster than regular weights, okay? So, chains mode, however, is going to force you to be able to have explosive power, explosive force. You're going to be able to push up an extremely heavy amount of weight with ease if you train with it, okay? So, that's the difference between Chains, Eccentric, and Smartflex. Now, why do I love Eccentric? Because I want my muscles to grow as fast as possible. And it is causing me to become strong. Chains mode would be great if I was training and I wanted explosive power. Chains mode is going to allow you to be able to get superpower right away, but it might not necessarily grow your muscles that much. You can be extremely strong. I don't know if you guys know anybody who's like this, but you might have somebody, I know a few people who are extremely thin, their arms might be this big, but they have like some serious power and force. You don't have to have large muscles to be strong. And chains mode is good for people who don't really care too much about getting massive amount of muscle, but who want power, okay? Those are those modes explained. Now, spotter mode. Spotter mode is supposed to simulate a spotter at the gym. At the gym, if you have somebody spot you, the reason why you have somebody spot you is because you might need help at some point during that lift. And what they're going to do is they're going to be there to help you with that weight. If for any reason you need help, you can't finish a rep, they're going to grab the bar, put the bar on the rack. Spotter mode is supposed to simulate that. I'm not actually impressed too much with spotter mode in the way that the company is using it, okay? So, spotter mode is genius because it can kick in when it senses that you're struggling. It can kick in, take the weight off if you're struggling, and now what it's going to allow you to do is be able to lift that heavy weight that you couldn't lift before because it took some of the weight away. It's going to allow you to lift that heavy weight, and the company says that you can keep going now. So what spotter mode is going to do is, without confusing you, what spotter mode is going to do is it's going to allow you to lift heavy weight, and then when you struggle, it's going to take some of the weight away. The flaw in spotter mode is that it gives you the same amount of weight back. So after you lift that heavy weight, it's going to drop the same amount of weight on you again, which is completely pointless in my opinion. Okay? So spotter mode has saved my life by taking weight away when I needed it to be taken away because I couldn't finish a rep. And then when I'm like, oh, good, they took the weight away, they dropped the same weight on me again. So really, it's not doing what a spotter is supposed to do. So I think that you should keep spotter mode on, in my opinion, when you feel like you're doing an exercise that you might possibly need help with or get hurt in. For example, with me, that is with a squat. With a squat with the bar, I keep spotter mode on because if I get too low on a squat and my legs get completely weak and I can't go anymore, I'm going to have to hope that spotter mode kicks in to release some of that weight so that I can now put the bar tilt on maybe or shut the weight off and I'm not going to get hurt. So that's the way I've used it. The company touts spotter mode in a different light, and I've already spoke to the company about it, and I'm hoping that they can kind of fix the issue here, make it more of a safety feature rather than more of a we're going to help you keep going feature. Because it's redundant. It's a redundant feature, and honestly, it's not too well thought out in my opinion, because you have something called burnout mode, okay? Burnout mode is kind of like the second spotter mode. It's like the cousin of spotter mode. What burnout mode is going to do is the same thing as spotter. It's going to take away some weight when it sees that you struggle, but the purpose is to allow you to keep doing reps. So it's going to lower the weight and lower the weight and lower the weight and lower the weight every time it sees you struggle, all the way until it's down to like no weight, okay? So really, essentially, spotter mode is the same thing as burnout, except it's just not executed as well. Because spotter mode is not doing what a spotter is supposed to do. It's kind of doing what burnout mode is supposed to do, but it's doing a less good job of it. I hope that makes sense. So now, that was all these modes explained for free mode. When it comes to programs, you guys might be wondering, is it okay to turn on and off whatever I want during programs? Let's say you're doing Go Big or Go Home, for example. Should you be changing the modes within a program that's already programmed to give you certain modes? you can do whatever you guys want. Absolutely whatever you want. But keep in mind, guys, that the programs have been designed by the trainers to react to your muscles in a certain way. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you're doing, I don't know, you're doing your favorite program, you're doing a program, and all of a sudden, now, it's giving you regular mode, right? Regular bench press for a certain amount of reps, a certain amount of sets. If you go ahead and change that regular bench press to, let's say, for example, chains mode or eccentric mode, by the time you get to the next exercise, depending on what that program is, what it's designed to do, you might be so burned out from that first bench press movement because you turned on another mode, because eccentric mode, chains mode, they're going to knock you out, guys. So if you turn those on and you weren't supposed to turn them on, and now all of a sudden you get to the next segment of the exercise and you need to do another exercise that now maybe involves the same muscle group, but they're using eccentric mode or chains mode already, you just completely messed up your workout. So keep that in mind. The programs themselves were designed for a certain way. And that's why I like free mode, because it gives me the freedom to do what I want to do. I don't have to be boxed into someone else's routine. I already know what I need from my training, therefore I make my own programs. Okay? So that's why I would not recommend personally changing the modes in the programs themselves that have already been written by the trainers. They already did the thinking for you. I change the modes up when I am doing my programs because I know what I'm going to do next, what I need to work on, what I need to focus on, what type of power I need. Do I need more muscle growth or power? I already know. So that's why I change that stuff up. I hope that helps. So guys, I hope all this made sense. I hope this kind of answers those questions. Again, I've touched on it in the past, but sometimes my videos do get lengthy because I get comments from you guys, I get questions, and I try to answer them. And I get so many comments and questions that I try to answer them, you know, kind of all at once. And I try to satisfy everybody's curiosity without having you guys wait for separate videos. But at the end of the day, it's okay. I don't mind repeating certain things. It's all good. These are some tricky modes to figure out once you first get the machine. And these are some tricky modes to kind of figure out if you don't have the machine and you don't know what it's about. And I want you guys to know what it's about, whether you have the machine or not, okay? So guys, I hope that this video was useful. I hope they explained everything. If you have any questions, let me know. Remember, I'm not a coach. I'm not a doctor. You guys know this. But I have to keep saying it because what I'm telling you is from my experience, okay? You might have people out there who come out with studies or they come out with certain opinions and they might not agree with me, and that's okay. That's all good. I'm giving you my experience with these modes. I've used them extensively, and this is what I've come to know after using them. Okay, guys? So I hope you have a great day. Be safe. Talk soon at the next video. Any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Take care, guys.